Hello folks, a very warm welcome to another video here in the Microsoft Sim, and welcome back to the Cessna 310R. Jeez, there's a bit of a gale blowing, or is that just the vacant space in my head that I'm hearing? Bloody Nora, wasn't expecting that. Anyway, we're at Whitman Regional Airport, folks, otherwise known as Oshkosh, otherwise known as the Osh. Or is it the Kosh? I have no idea, folks. Oshkosh, Wisconsin is where we begin our journey, and just quietly, it's also where we're going to end it. Yes, folks, we are in the old United States of America. Well, how united are they these days? Interesting week over there with elections and all of that sort of stuff. A divided country, by all accounts. But this is not a political channel, folks. What are we doing in Oshkosh? And why are we flying the Cessna 310? Shall I explain it? Let me fire up a little nav map and help myself to do just that. Alright, so, little nav map. For those of you not familiar with the United States of America, this is where it is in the world. North America, folks. Long, long way from where I hail from, down here in Australia. About I don't know, 14 hours, something like that, across to the west coast from the east coast of Oz. Something like that. To get to Wisconsin, buggered if I know, folks, I've never done it. Never been there. But I do have a connection with Wisconsin, the cheese state. State drink of Wisconsin is milk. I love that. I'm sure Wisconsinites, is that the right term? I'm very proud of that as well. So Oshkosh, I'm going to trip myself up, folks, saying that. Probably need a few more coffees. But Oshkosh, I'll slow myself down, is here on the shores of Lake Winnebago. Isn't that a great name for a lake? Winnebago. And our flight plan today, folks, is a clockwise route around the lake. I wonder if people do this in real life. I probably would, just quietly, if I had the opportunity. Anyway, we begin our journey in Oshkosh, Whitman Regional, which is down here, home of the famous air show that is held there, Air Venture. A real bucket list occasion for anyone with this disease called aviation. It will remain, I fear, a unrequited bucket list item for yours truly. Unfortunately, I don't see myself getting there, or a whole lot of other places before I cark it. But anyway, I do know someone that's been there, and that person is going to feature in this video. The flight plan out of Oshkosh, heading up towards a city. Is it a city or is it a town called Appleton? I'm not sure. I know of Appleton for a few reasons, and I'll explain more as the video goes on, folks. And then we're going to sort of hang it righty and then sort of fly southbound along the eastern edge of the lake over a place called Stockbridge. That's going to feature in our story today, folks. Stockbridge. And then down to Fond du Lac. Is that how you say it? Fond du Lac. And then back up to a landing at Oshkosh. Not a long flight. It's going to be probably about half an hour in the Cessna 310. So not a lot of time to explore the aircraft too much. I will cover the update. This aircraft, while we're flying the aircraft today, is because it's just been updated. In fact, it's been updated over the course of the last few months in a beta, service pack beta program that Blackbird have done. But it's finally been released to market. So I thought I'd pick it up and feature it in a video. And there is another reason I'm flying in this part of the world as well. But I'll explain. Actually, there's more than one. I'm thinking this story's already getting complicated, and I haven't even told it. Anyway, we're going to jump back inside the sim, fire up the aircraft, we'll go flying, and everything will make sense by the end of the video. Maybe. Now, because this flight's actually going to be pretty short, and I've got a story to tell, I thought that I would take a look, share the update with you for what it's worth. This is over here on the Blackbird Sims forums. This is where the update is available. This is where I got it from because I bought it direct from Blackbird. Those of you that got it from other places will get your update from other places. I stumbled across the fact that this has been released to market. I haven't received an email or any notification. Yeah, I saw it in a post somewhere. Logged into the forum here. I'll link to the forum, but you kind of need to be granted access to the forum. So if you don't have that access, that link's not going to be any good. Anyway, these are the release notes for Service Pack 1 official release to market version. Alright, this is what they've done. A whole lot of stuff. I'm guessing this is the release notes that incorporate all of the changes since the last market release. I'm assuming that. I don't know that for sure. But there's a whole lot of stuff that's happened. They've added a VOR2 gauge. I don't think that will be of any use to me personally, but that's okay. I know that Blackbird are not developing this aircraft for the old man. Animations, lots of stuff. I'm not going to go through each individual item, folks. If you're a fan of this aircraft, if you're interested in potentially picking it up, you can do your due diligence. I'm sure that you can read all this stuff for yourself. The point of sharing it with you is to, one, notify you that it's available, if you didn't already know, and two, give you some food for thought as to whether it's worth picking up if you haven't already got it. So avionics stuff, they fixed stuff, lots of fixes. I didn't realise there was so much stuff broken. But credit to the developer here, Milviz, well, formerly Milviz, now Blackbird. They've taken their time to get this right. It really is a fantastic quality aircraft, one of the best, if not the best, GA twins for the Microsoft Sim. Really, really impressive product, great depth, everything about it, every element, sounds, textures, flight characteristics, character. I love the character of this aeroplane. The configuration options, yeah. They've done some stuff with the flight dynamics, done some stuff with the fuel, done a whole lot of generally stuff, all of that. Internal lighting, user manual. The user manual is fantastic. I mean, it really sets the benchmark for what user manuals should be in payware aircraft. Yeah, very impressive. Menu systems, the model, other stuff, sounds, which are a highlight in this aircraft. I love the sounds in this bird, and they've done some stuff on the textures. So there will be a link to this this forum. As I said earlier, though, you need to be granted access to it by the good folks at Blackbird. So, should we do some flying? I think we should. Let me fire it up. Let's get out of here. Right, so engine start has been achieved. So, enjoy these sounds in this aeroplane. Not so much enjoying the sound of a whimpering dog behind me. Rest assured, folks, he's perfectly okay. He's just unhappy that he can't get out and say hello to one of his mates that's walking past. Yeah, anyway, what are we doing in Wisconsin? I hear you ask. Well, a few reasons. One is, I've got a subscriber, you know who you are, mate, a very kind subscriber, who advised in a recent comment that he'd done his PPL here in Wisconsin. And I thought, that's enough reason for me. I'm going to visit Wisconsin. So this one's for you, mate. It's also for a person in my life, and that person being in my life is, and being the subject of today's story, is the reason why you don't see a virtual person sitting in this seat. There is no Jude today, folks, because, well, I'm going to be talking about another woman, and I really don't need the nonsense that would emanate from Jude, the jealousy, the rage that would result from me discussing this other woman. Quite an important woman in my life. A woman that we shall call the flying wife, the flying mum. If I'm the flying dad, she's the flying mum. But to me, she's the flying wife. She has a connection with Wisconsin. I'll talk about that as we get airborne. We really do need to do some flying. Alright, lined up runway 223. Never in doubt. Runway 23 here at Oshkosh, folks. That's a nice view. Hey, and we've got a... well, it's going to be a right-hand turn after departure, isn't it? We're going to take off into a headwind. That's quite a dark view, isn't it? Quite a dark panel. I'm sure the lighting will change as we change our orientation towards the source of said light, being the sun. I think we're pretty much right to go here. We'll take one stage of flap just because we can. Should we? I don't remember. Probably. Won't hurt, will it? Lights are on, landing lights on. We've got our transponder over here. Altitude reporting, all the stuff we're supposed to do. There's the flight plan. Lots of user waypoints, folks. Yeah, so first stop, well, our first sort of point on the flight plan anyway is going to be Appleton, which is about 18 miles from here. So in a direction, direct track of 024, which is there, we'll align our heading bug. Very dark panel here, and they've got the lights turned on as well. Anyway, as I said, that will change. Local barrow is set. We're good. Haven't flown this aeroplane for a while, so anything can happen here, folks. I'm not an expert in the old Cessna 310. I enjoy it, but I don't do a particularly good job of flying it. Let's introduce some juice. Oh, the sounds. Love it. We'll go full juice here. Oh, listen to that. Love it. Geez, we're getting some good acceleration here. A little bit choppy. Hello, we're going to need to use a little bit of right boot. We're going to slip slide a bit here. Whee, that breeze is strong. We'll get airborne. We've got positive rate and all that gear can come up. We're going to take a really early right-hand turn. There we go. That got sporty, didn't it? We'll take our flaps up as we're in the turn as well. Oh yeah, she's breezy, gusty. Beautiful. I'll just come back on the old manifold and on the proper tag. Take our track towards Appleton. If you happen to hail from this part of the world, folks, give us a shout in the comments. Always enjoy hearing from people who have real life experience and can talk about and correct me on all of the mistakes that I make in terms of pronunciations and stuff like that. We'll basically just follow the shoreline of the lake here, and as we do so, sorry, I really should have taken the opportunity for a bevy before I started talking. My throat's very scratchy indeed. Yeah, so the connection with the flying wife, she spent some time in this part of the world. She went to school here. She's not American, but she went to school here. Of all the places that she could have gone to school on a sort of an exchange program, she ended up in Wisconsin, in a very small town on the other side of the lake, somewhere over there, a little town called Stockbridge. She went to high school there, and another interesting fact, well I find it interesting anyway, is that my good wife was prom queen. Now, Americans will understand the significance of the whole prom thing. We don't have it quite the same in Australia. We have what's called a formal, which is kind of our equivalent, but I don't think we certainly didn't mind it. They had a king and a queen. Well, in the United States they do. They sort of have a, I don't know, what is the significance of the prom king and queen? I'm not quite sure. I'll have to ask the flying wife to remind me. I'm sure she's told me about 302 times, but she was the prom queen. So yes, the old man here, old mate, ended up marrying a prom queen. And many people over the years have asked, how does he end up with her? The flying wife has asked herself that question many times, I'm sure. And I don't know. Through a serendipity, let's call it that. The universe works in mysterious ways, folks. And I find myself, the love of my life was a former prom queen in Stockbridge, Wisconsin, of all places. Now that's a connection. So this one's for you, love. We've had an interesting life together, and I wouldn't give up anything to be without you. So you probably won't hear these words. You won't be watching this video. YouTube's not her caper, folks. Flying's not her caper, ironically. She ends up with a pilot. Of all the people, I end up with a prom queen, and she ends up with a pilot. Absolutely hates flying with a passion. So yeah, it's a match made in heaven, isn't it? Hey, the universe works in mysterious ways, folks. But yeah, that's the connection with that old mate has with Wisconsin. So we're doing a pretty hefty ground speed, 200 knots. We've got 31 knots up to date. We're going to be in overhead Appleton pretty quickly. Take an outside shot for you. There it is. There are going to be quite a few outside shots here, folks. We're going to let Georgie do some flying, because I don't want to enjoy the scenery. Beautiful part of the world. Hey, getting a little bit chilly this time, I would imagine. Mid-November. Should be getting cool. The Lake Winnebago, the ice lake's over. The ice lake's over. The lake ice is over, and we should get Georgie to do some flying, because we're going to end up in said lake otherwise. So what I will do is roll in VS mode. In fact, I'm going to go altitude hold here at 3,000. I meant to go 2.5. Go an even 3. We'll get some heading stuff happening, Georgie, to get us back onto the magenta, pal. That's what happens when you start waffling on. Zoom out a little bit. There's Appleton. We're going to make the turn. I'll get Georgie to do some. Actually, you can do some nav. Just intercept the nav from this point, Georgie, for us, mate. Come back a little bit more on the juice. We don't need to scream around at full throttle. Enjoy the scenery even. Slurring my words. I can assure you that I'm reasonably sober, folks, when I film this. It is early morn. The day is young. I haven't had a chance to get myself half cut just yet, but still struggling. That's just old age, I think. You know, this will be Appleton, Wisconsin, folks. Now, the other reason I know Appleton, Wisconsin, those of you that watch the old TV, there's a few of you out there, there's a series called Breaking Bad. You may be familiar with it. There's a character in that show, fantastic character, one of the great characters, one of the great actors played the role. Aaron Paul is the actor's name. The character's name is Jesse Pinkman. Well, not a spoiler alert. I don't think you need a spoiler alert, but no, I'm not going to spoil anything here. For those of you that haven't watched it, do yourself a favour, check it out. It's quality television. If those of you that are looking for a bit of a side hustle cooking meth, it's worth checking out too for different reasons. Anyway, Jesse Pinkman's part of his story involves the town of Appleton. You'll need to watch. I'm just wondering now whether it's actually in the show or in the movie. There's a movie that comes after the show. That is where Appleton features. And when it came up, of all the places that the writers could have chosen, they chose to include reference to Appleton, Wisconsin. You don't hear about Appleton very often. I have no real knowledge of what happens in Appleton, Wisconsin. But it was in that show. That was a really long-winded way of saying, I heard someone say Appleton. Folks, it's just all made up. The points don't matter. As I said, I'm mostly sober. Mostly. And that's what you get on this channel, folks. I want to say thank you to all of you for your support. I received some very kind comments and just generally support for this nonsense that I've published to YouTube. And it really does mean a lot to me, so thank you. So we'll continue the journey, folks. I won't make you suffer through the whole flight. I'm going to love just taking this camera shot and looking around the lake. I'll see you in a tad, maybe for the approach, back into Oshkosh, something like that. For now, I'm going to enjoy this view. So I mentioned Stockbridge earlier, folks. This is the town of Stockbridge. Stockbridge High School is somewhere here, I think. Small little place. We've got a decent old breeze sort of slowing us down and sort of having us crab a little bit down the old... I think this is Highway 55. Am I right, locals? I think it's 55. Anyway, that's Stockbridge. I'm going to take a guess that the high school is quite possibly this one right here. How cool is that? I just find it absolutely amazing. How well the scenery is represented in this sim. I'm gonna take a punt and say that's the high school. What do you reckon? Jeez, there's not much to it, eh? Not much to the town. The main drag, sort of across street. That's it. Probably some wealthier people live on the lake, perhaps. I don't quite know where the flying wife resided exactly in relation to the lake. Plenty of stories that she's told me over the years. Anyway, shout out to the good folks of Stockbridge, Wisconsin. Hope you're well. We'll see you for an approach back into Oshkosh, folks. Alright, final leg back into Oshkosh, folks. It's been a nice short flight. Kind of flight that I enjoy doing and enjoy filming. A little bit of a personal connection. Part of the world that's generally unfamiliar to me. A fantastic quality aircraft. How good is this aircraft? Oh boy. Oh, I've just got an overheat warning on the cabin heater. What's going on there? Didn't even know it was on. Did I leave that on? Because this has persistence, doesn't it? The old state saving stuff. This is Oshkosh up here, folks. I think we took off on sort of 2-3, didn't we? We might try and land on one of the 1/8s or something. We might do that just for something different because we can. I'll just get the heading bug sorted. We've only got like 6 miles to go. In fact, we don't have time to muck around with that, Georgie. I've got to do some flying, mate. So what we'll do is we'll kind of fly a left circuit, sort of hug the shoreline of the lake, and then sort of land on 1/8 something. How's that? Just come back on the juice. What I find with this aircraft is you have to be kind of ahead of it. I mean, you have to be ahead of every aircraft to some extent. This one you sort of have to get yourself sorted early. That's been my experience of it anyway. Get yourself slowed down so you can get some flap out, get gear down, all that sort of stuff. Just get yourself prepared to make a half decent go of an approach and then into the landing. I don't know whether Blackbird have adjusted the flight dynamics in terms of the flare and all that sort of stuff. This aircraft does require you to sort of fly in a little hot, and it does land very stiff. I don't know whether they modified that at all. Apparently that is quite realistic to the real thing, so that's fine. No need to change if it reflects the real thing. This is one of those birds that you pick up because you want to fly it. You want an experience which is close to the real thing, don't you? And Blackbird have done a great job. So yeah, just entering left downwind here for runway 1. I think there were multiple 1/8s. Maybe there's only one. Runway 18 here at, or is there one on the other side? I don't know. A bit unfamiliar, folks, with the locale. As I film this, we're a couple of days away from Sim Update 11 being released. Just give me that perspective, thank you. Which will probably break stuff. I mean, I don't get to fly or film videos for a little bit, but I won't be the only one. We're waiting for sort of mods to be updated and aircraft to be updated, potentially scenery and all that sort of stuff. But Sim Update 11, a big one, a really big one. What a year for simulation this has been. What the last couple of years since the release of this sim, it's really we're in the golden age now, aren't we? I'm going to take first stage of flap, and I'm also going to take gear. We'll fly a left base. We don't need to extend this too far out over the poor residents of Oshkosh. You'd have to love aviation to live here, wouldn't you? Hey? We'll fly high base. It's a nice stiff breeze. It's 27 now, 27 knots. We'll sort of keep that turn coming around. Not technically accurate. Not what you're supposed to do. You actually fly. You're supposed to fly at sort of defined base, aren't you? We're going to have to keep that turn coming around and through 1500. Getting a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish in the old pitch controls. You're starting to feel a bit wobbly. There's 1.8, so somewhere down there. There we go. 2 whites, 2 reds. Hey, playing that well. Going to get a little bit sheery, I think, here on final. We're sort of 14 up to 20 knots, something like that. And we'll take final stage of flat here. There we go. 3 whites, 1 red. Just get our trim sorted. Let's sort of truck on in just over the 100. Isn't that right? Oh, the sounds are great. Everything about this aircraft. Loving it. Got it for like 30% off as well. Got lucky. I just stumbled across a sale back in the day. Really good value. Anyway, a little high now. Runway 18, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Running unlimited frames for the first time as well. I'm not locking my frames. I'm trying stuff. Also running with a new video recording thing. And lots of new stuff happening here. Oh, the dots are on the runway. Yeah, fantastic. Right, let's keep that power on. Retrim. Don't let yourself get too slow, fella. It's a nice stiff headwind, isn't it? Right, here we go. Do a bit of a flare. Bit of a flare. Blue dot, blue dot, blue dot, blue dot. We're going to get on? Oh, it wasn't particularly great. That felt very, I don't know what's the word, sloppy. Felt quite sloppy. I don't think I made a particularly good job of that flare, and we kind of just dropped it on, but we blue dotted it. So that's something to take away. Here's the pink dot. Anyway, folks, I'll get us off here at the first available taxiway on the left. I want to say thank you for your company in another flight, and thank you as always for your support of this channel. It is very much appreciated. And to the subscriber who kindly shared that he'd done his PPL here in Wisconsin. I hope you enjoyed this one too, mate. And a final shout out to the flying wife. Great to have you on board my life. Folks, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.